Now, whenever you crash your track bike and it's still the middle of the summer and you want to continue out the rest of the summer and not miss any track days, a quick repair like this is a quick and dirty repair. And this is from the time that the part was taken off the bike until it was in prime and ready for the touch-up paint. The painting of it is on a separate video. I didn't want to make the videos too long. And this is good information about how to use CA and carbon fiber to repair it. Do a proper cleaning as always. Had a back mask off to save some of the decals. That was important in the case of this bike. Those decals are really expensive. And the biggest thing of all, we wanted to have this done for the next track date. It was coming up very shortly. But the first thing is, and I always start, I'll clean the whole part with Simple Green, and then I want to get inside the fairing. I want to build this up with fiberglass and CA so I have something to work with. Again, this is not a 10-minute job. It's going to basically be a couple of days of working on this, but as opposed to the choice would be you have to order another fairing. I don't know how many $100 that is. It wouldn't come right away. You'd have to paint it anyway. So, and you know, in essence, there's no free lunch here. So as I look at the inside, I can see what has to happen here. I've got to make some CA and some fiberglass and build this up in here. I've got a crack here I have to deal with. Now, a lot of this is similar to the work I had to do on the seat. I'm not sure. Down here we have part of Pocono dirt. Glad it would be nice if you power wash these parts for you, brought them to my shop. Okay, I have Pocono dirt all over my shop now. Anyway, and I'm going to look around if there's anything else needs to be. All the damage is basically on one side. But again, this is not a 5-minute job, that's for sure. So after cleaning the whole part up as much as I could, getting rid of all the Pocono dirt, or most of it, I need to roughen this up. If I don't roughen it up, the CA is not going to stick. Okay, so again, this is from Brodak. Brodak is the freshest supplier I know of CA. You want to put plenty on there, let it sit a few seconds. Now from this piece, I just need to get it over that, to where the part is cracked. Once I have it over there, the rest is just extra. Reinforce it a little bit. I don't have to worry about the edge. I can do the edge when I'm sanding it. This part kind of goes relatively quick. Now, because this stuff will glue your hand to the part, and it'll be, you can, in the worst case scenario, you might have to go for surgery to get your hand taken apart. Could ruin your whole day too. Ask me how I know that. How do I know that? Well, because I've done it. Now I can take the thin. The thin will be capillary, go right over the top of it. When we're done reinforcing this will be stronger than the part around it. We don't have to make it fancy now. We'll do that with sandpaper later. Now, once that part is done, this material hasn't really dried yet. I can take some sandpaper and this will just get it down. The idea of this is you don't have any razor edges while you're doing the rest of the work on this that catch under your fingernail and can ask me how I know. Can really be a problem. Now with that part patched, now this is the part that's gone all the way through. I need to cut a big piece in here, basically do the same thing here. It's going to be hard to get the camera in there while I'm doing it, but I need to build a backing, build a reinforcement behind this before I can go to the other side and do the cosmetic work. So I've got the first layer in there, just waiting for that to cure. I'm going to cure out. I'm going to put a couple more extra layers in here because that part is paper thin. It's actually only the thickness of that right now, just to build up some rigidity in there. Now you might remember, and I'm just trying to think, there's a set of videos of doing Mark's parts where there was a piece missing the size of, I don't know, you could put your hand through the fairing. We were able to recreate that part. This is not that kind of job, but it's a skill that'll, if you're doing this kind of work and you're using CA, this will definitely be one of the things you want to know how to do. Now you can see we have this backed that whatever CA I'm going to put in here is not going to flow through and out the other side. We've like put a bathroom stopper in it. So now everywhere there's a chip here, I'm going to try to fill it with thick CA. And I'm going to see this I could probably sand out. Oh, there's all dirt on this side too. I only cleaned the inside so far. This, I'm not sure how much, again, trying to save this stuff is really a big problem. But, and that's what, we're going to try to do our best here, of course. That's all we can do. Not sure we could save that at all. Anyway, evaluating this, and this is some kind of tape up here he got. See, it would be nice if he had cleaned these parts. And when you're going to do this kind of, if it's already off the bike and you have a power washer, just power wash it. Do it with a garden hose in simple green. Now this is going to be a little more complicated than I thought originally. I'm going to try to hold this. Let's see if we, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this the way I want. Again, what we're doing is replacing the gel coat with CA, which is about 150 times stronger than gel. Gel coat is nothing. Gel coat is just tack and polyester resin. So by having something in here, this will reinforce it too. Because I don't know how deep a lot of these scratches really go down deep. Now I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of kicker. Then I can start to see how deep these are going to go down. Let's see if I can show it. I'm not sure I can. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, just before I go to the next step, just see how much of this I can get off. I don't want to use the power sander on it yet. I want to see just how bad this part is before I start to shape it out. Pretty bad. You did a good job crashing this bike, baby. Oh, yeah, good. Okay. Now we're going to need several layers of CA over that. I'm going to try to build that up with CA before I hit it with a power sander, because the power sander will go right through that. Now, whenever I use the power sander, I want to make sure I have plenty of material on there. In fact, I'm thinking I may have to do some of this outside. This is going to start to get real messy and dirty. Now the objective is not to get this any thinner than I have to. Yeah, I better do some of this outside. It's getting messy. But anyway, well, the first thing I could do is, I know he's got plenty of these Moto World decal. Try to get that decal off of there. That'll make it easier. Then I can blend this right around. Now what's going to make this tricky is I can't work on where I normally work there, because the kids are playing in the pool, and I'm sure that parents are going to go ballistic if they start smelling paint. Now we're just going to see how much this material I can get off out here. It's a problem. See, painting here in the summer, the neighbors are all around, and not like in the winter when they're all in the house. Now the thing with this is, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but we make it as nice. Ooh, it's nice and solid in case you crash again. Anyway, you should put a slider right there. Anyway, we'll get on that. We'll get a lot of this power sanding done out here, because we're basically going to devote, I guess, 3 or 4 hours to this before the baby comes today. Now we got all the machine sanding done now. This is ready for the hand sanding, but we're starting to run out of time here. So I thought what I'd try to do today is just try to finish the next step on this. I got a back mask off as much of the decals as I can. I want to save those decals, of course. And back mask off the half of the fairing. The other side of the fairing is fine. So I may get the back masking done, and then it's going to be time for the baby. Now this is prep all anti-degreaser. Because what I want to do, I don't want any of the back masking to peel up halfway through the job. We basically have most of the rough sanding done here in the time we had today, but again, we're limited by a couple of things. We do have to babysit every day, and the biggest thing is our neighbors in this. It's about 95 degrees out there now. They use their pool. Sometimes they're out there when I'm having my coffee in the morning. So, and they have a bunch of kids that come over. I'm not sure if she babysits or what. But anyway, definitely can't paint while they're out there. So I tried to spray some primer the other day, and I heard. So I'm gonna try to respect them. Maybe I'll have the mafia take a. Anyway. She's cleaned up and we're ready to start. This is going to be a relatively hard thing. I want to get back mask as much of this as I think I can salvage. Now the back masking on this is, we're just trying to save the decals. There's a couple of scratches on the lower one, but I don't think they warrant spending a couple $100 for decals, and I know these are not cheap. As long as we don't have it that it's obvious that it's been, the idea is to make this that it looks as good as we can without spending a tremendous amount of money. Now getting this back masked off, it looks like if this works out the way I want, this back masking will be relatively straightforward, and the good side of the fairing we don't have to touch, which will be a beautiful thing. Now one thing I always find handy if you're back masking a fairing is having a stool, something like a stool you can use to hold it on while you're doing the back masking. Now we do have some, I want to finalize that bodywork. I may have enough time to get that bodywork finalized. Get some primer on that. If it's our lucky day, nobody will be out in a pool. Now I basically have all the sanding done. I'm going to have to figure out how I want to jig this up, or maybe move the table over here. It sounds like the kids are out at a pool. Maybe they're on their lunch break or something. I get some primer on this. Now everything that we're going to prime is going to seal the paint underneath it from the paint on top. It's still going to need quite a bit of sanding, but we'll get one coat drying out here while we can, while nobody's in the swimming pool. I don't want thick coats. I'll put 2 coats on very thin. That's all we're going to be able to get done today. That was a lot of work. Believe me, Vlad, I hope you appreciate this. This was a lot of dirty work. So the biggest thing to remember on any fairing repair is you always want to do the structural part on the back of the fairing, the side you don't see. Repair all the cracks, all the damage from the back before you even start on the front. And then any cracks you have in the front, you can load them up with thin CA, thick CA. You can sand it, you can power sand it, you can hand sand it, any combination of all of the above. Get it back ready. If there's any part of this, and this is the part that's that I wanted to show on this video. The part of this fairing, the side that had not impacted the Pocono Raceway, was fine. So we salvaged that. We didn't have to go back and repaint and resand. We really only had to do about half of it. And how I backmasked it out, salvaged that. And the good news about this was Vlad was back out on the racetrack on the next weekend. And thanks so much for watching.